Today, we're going to talk about everything farmers market. Farmers market is where I got my start. It's a great place to start, and I want you to be aware of all the things you can do to make it smooth and easy.
Welcome to Learn Cut Flower Growing. Whether you are an inspiring green thumb, a busy mompreneur, or simply seeking a passion, you are in the right place. If I had to do it all over again, knowing what I know now, I would do it smarter. And that's what I'm sharing here. I want to take years off your learning and help you bloom with confidence in your garden. Each episode, I'll share practical tips and ideas, heartfelt stories, and expert insights to help you grow and find balance in your journey. I'm Paula Rice, your cut flower farmer guide. I've been growing for 16 years, and I'm an expert in my field, literally. So grab your gardening gloves and listen to me while you work, or grab a cup of coffee and relax as you learn to manage a cut flower garden and business.
It's an odd thing to say, but I'm going to say it up front. I did the farmers market for 10 years. Well, probably 11. And looking back now, it's the one place that I stayed too long. It's my one regret. I mean, it was the thing that got me out there, and I loved it. I loved the energy of it. I loved taking my kids to the farmers market and helping me, and they learned so many skills. I loved the people and them supporting me, and it was kind of fun because I actually needed someone to say my flowers were beautiful so that I could have the energy to continue the work to grow flowers. I remember one year I was pregnant with either my second to last or last child. So I had Eden, my oldest daughter, and my niece running the farmer's market for me that summer because I was just really pregnant and it was a lot to do. And I kind of got grumpy about being a flower farmer because I felt basically I was used to people telling me my flowers were beautiful, and I was getting that fix of, okay, Paula, what you're doing here matters to people and they appreciate it. But I did love all the stories that they brought back to me from the farmer's market. That really was just great too. But it was interesting that I actually need to, and probably everybody needs to know that what they're doing matters in the world. So anyways, I learned that. It's a little bit of a tangent, and we're going to move forward and talk about the best systems to get your flowers harvested and get them to the farmer's market and sold so that it doesn't take up too much of your time. Because let's face it, all of this can take a lot of time if you do not have processes in place to make it as streamlined as possible. So I want to start with all the systems that you could create to make it go as quickly as possible from start to finish, from harvest to actually selling your flowers. So it all depends on when your farmer's market is. Like, I did a Wednesday afternoon farmer's market, and so I had a whole separate system, very different from when I did the Saturday farmer's market. And today we're going to talk about what you do to prepare for like a Saturday morning, a morning type of farmer's market. So let's look at a couple of factors. Are you a stay-at-home mom, or do you have a day job? And do you have a cooler, or do you not have a cooler? So with scenario number one, I am a stay-at-home mom and I do not have a cooler. So I'm going to get up in the morning and I am going to harvest my flowers and let them hydrate all day long. And then in the evening, I'm going to come back with my glass of wine Friday night because it's a Saturday morning market. And I'm going to make up maybe, depending upon how busy you are. In the beginning, you probably can make up 10 bouquets and you're golden. You're done. Later, when you're busier, maybe you're going to need to make up 20 or 25 bouquets because the next morning you're going to wake up. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. I'm going to harvest my flowers and then I'm going to get everything loaded in the van, not my flowers. Okay. I'm going to put my flowers in a shady, cool location. And yes, if it's a hot day on Friday, that's just too bad. You don't have any other options and it will work. Get them in a shady location. And then when evening comes, they're going to hydrate and kind of perk back up. They're going to be just fine. And then you're going to go ahead and just load the van, get that out of the way. Load the van with your tables and make sure you have all of the market supplies that you need, your signage and all that jazz. Then in the evening, you're going to pop out and you're going to make up those bouquets. Saturday morning, you're going to be up early, because what we're going to do is you are going to take buckets and buckets of flowers to the market and your few bouquets that you made, and you're going to set up shop, get it all staged, get your signage up, get ready, and then you're going to go to work. Because it always has boggled my mind that people would bring their bouquets to the farmer's market and then just sit there. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense at all. Because if you did it at the farm, that's time that you could have been spending with your family, cleaning your house, weeding your gardens, doing something, because you know on Saturday you're going to be sitting there selling flowers. So no, I never did that. It made sense to me to get my flowers harvested, leave them all in buckets, get them hydrated, and then in the evening make a few bouquets. And then Saturday, I would take these raw buckets of flowers, get set up, and then start making bouquets right there. It's dynamic. People love to watch it. I mean, in time, pretty much we had a market in a park. And we always had music at the market. It was so nice, so wonderful. And I would sit there and make bouquets. And people would sit there and watch. It's kind of a show. Or people would say, hey, can I have a custom bouquet made? And I could do all of those things. In the beginning, all of that was really amazing. I loved any interaction I could get. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm selling flowers. This is amazing. And then at the end of the day, I pack it up and bring it home. And of course, you're really tired. And this is kind of funny because when you are selling flowers at the market, it just really becomes dynamic and interactive. And my kids, and no matter what you make, it's going to be beautiful, because my kids would create a bouquet and I'm like, oh my goodness, what kind of combination is that? And they would put it out front and someone would come and buy it every single time. You cannot screw up. I have 10 years of experience. Lots of friends coming with me to make bouquets, popping in and just working with me. And you cannot screw up. It can be weedy. It can be messy. It can be the ugliest colors on the planet, which is really actually impossible. And somebody's going to love it and buy it. If you've got short stems, you can sell them. I mean, I love the farmer's market for that, because in the middle of all of that, you are making decisions like, okay, what flowers are really, really selling well? And that's informing you about the things that you're going to grow next year. You are right there getting feedback constantly from people about what they love, what they hate. Well, nobody hates anything. What they love. You also are going to discover the flower that kind of catches everybody's attention, because, you know, you'll stage the front of your farmer's market booth with maybe just a few buckets of flowers to catch people's eyes and attention and get them to stop. And it was always interesting to me, the flower that would make people stop and ask, what flower is this? Because that's what you want to do. Okay. You want somebody to stop briefly, and they may only stop briefly and say something. And that is your opportunity to sell. Yes. While you are actually working flowers and doing all the things, you are communicating with them. You don't necessarily stop and have a conversation. You don't have time for that, but you are engaging them while you continue to work. And people love that. They love to see that you can handle that. And in the beginning, it's going to kind of be a little bit awkward for you. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, okay, this person is stopping. What am I going to say? And you're going to tell them, that's agrostemma. It has a very long vase life. Okay. It doesn't take a lot. You say something, and then it's kind of up to them. Okay. And believe it or not, agrostemma, when that comes into bloom, it's a beautiful flower, but I wouldn't say it's the bride flower. It's not like it's a bucket of lilies sitting out there or something, but people don't see it very often. So it draws attention. And then in time, as you move through the seasons, you're just going to know the flower that gets people's attention, and you will purposely place it out front. And this is why the farmer's market is so valuable to you starting out as a flower farmer. Is you gain so much knowledge about customers and what they're looking for and what they want. It's a powerhouse of information. And so I highly recommend starting out at a farmer's market and getting a feel for people, because a lot can happen at a farmer's market. You can have a bride show up and she's getting married that day. She hasn't thought a thing about flowers, and her friends have talked her into getting some, and she's showing up, and what can you do? Okay. And you will just start putting a bucket together with, well, what are your colors? And you'll look at what you have there and you will put a bucket together for her. So it's just, oh my gosh, there's just so much at the farmer's market that is going to help inform you to be a better salesperson, to be a better grower, to understand what people love and want. And all of that really matters. So really, I would say in the career of my flower farming, just being there and doing all of that, like super powered me up for becoming a really good flower farmer and understanding the dynamics of even selling flowers and all that takes. Plus, there's quirky, fun little things that happen. And this is another thing. So number one, your bouquet is going to sell. It's gorgeous. Somebody's going to love it. Somebody's going to want it. There's just such a variety of people out there. Number two, a funny little thing that will happen is I'll have a bouquet out front that I made. And people, because I stand there and I make flowers, people will walk up and they'll say, can you make me a bouquet just like this one? And I'm like, if I've got time, and I just usually made it happen. I wasn't going to sit there and say, well, why don't you just buy that one? I mean, this is what I'm doing. And if I still had the flowers available, I would absolutely make that. And I was not going to say anything about it. But for the times when I'd be like, I don't seem to have all of those flowers anymore. So you may want to buy that one, or I could do a substitution for you. And really, I just wing it. I kind of had a really big spot, and I realized a lot of people wouldn't have a big spot. Maybe you're confined to a certain space within your tent if you're out in the sun. And in that case, you can still make this work, but you are definitely going to have a system for tiering up your buckets and compacting it, and then making use of that space as much as you can. But still, you will get far more bouquets from taking buckets and buckets of raw flowers than you would ever be able to sell by just taking the bouquets already made. Okay, because a bouquet already made takes a ton of space in a bucket compared to, an entire bucket of agrostemma and all of this sitting there ready to be kind of poofed out into making a lot more bouquets than what is there. Plus also, you can kind of get a feel for what the market is loving that day. And you can say, okay, the sunflowers are just really what's selling these bouquets. So I'm going to try to get some sunflowers in each bouquet. Or you might be getting whittled down. You're like, wow, I really didn't use all that agrostemma like I thought I was going to. So then you're going to start in real time playing the market to get your flowers sold. So you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to turn these agrostemmas into straight bunches. And I'm going to start talking more about that because that's what needs to sell. And so you'll grab them, make a few straight bunches, put it out front, and then point, hey, here's a bouquet. And this agrostemma would make a lovely little single stem bouquet on your end table or something. Or, do you know someone that could use some agrostemma or a little cheering up today, and try to sell those straight bunches. You also could quickly, if you have all these flowers going and you're seeing something not selling, you could say, okay, for anyone who buys a bouquet, you get a straight bunch for $10, $5, whatever it is. So in real time, you are a salesperson. You are doing what it takes to sell those flowers because you don't want to take those flowers home and throw them on the compost pile. So the farmer's market is just amazing for all of those things. Those are the things I've talked about. I'm kind of getting off tangent here because a stay-at-home mom. Great. Now let's pretend that you have a day job and that you are just beginning to explore the idea of growing cut flowers and selling them, and you have the farmer's market. So in that scenario, you might start dealing with, and you have no cooler. Let's just go with you have no cooler. So you worked all day Friday and you're going to come home Friday evening and you're going to harvest your flowers. Maybe Thursday evening. That might be a good idea. Thursday evening, get all your signage ready, kind of get your plan and load up your vehicle with all of your hard goods and your staging supplies. And then Friday evening, you are going to do your harvesting, set them in buckets, and set them in the shade all night to hydrate and get ready. If you're not too exhausted from working all day and harvesting your flowers, then you could go ahead and make your few bouquets that'll help jumpstart your bouquet. Because And the reason we're doing that is because it got to a point where I really got busy selling flowers. And so I needed to show up, get set up, set those bouquets out and have 20 ready to go, because you have the people that'll hit the market first thing in the day and they are your regulars. And so you need to have some things ready to sell to them right away. Otherwise you just end up getting behind. You don't want to get behind, but those are the good days. Okay. That's what we're looking forward to here. And so you've harvested your flowers and then they're sitting out. And then Saturday morning, you're going to get up early, load your flowers into your vehicle, go set up, and then go to work. So that can all still work really well for you, for someone who still has a day job. And of course, if you have a day job, your garden isn't going to be super huge. So hopefully you'll be able to get through it. And I want to say, bring your happy to the farmer's market. Really think about the type of person you are. If you're the type of person that it's going to irritate you if some child walks by and touches the flowers, and you're going to be like, yeah, don't touch the flowers, or, hey, don't touch the flowers. The parent, I'm just like, that's not me. Oh my goodness, let the child touch the flowers. I'm just like, if you're that type of person, you guys have 9 kids. So I am an advocate for children. I am an advocate for everyone to touch the flowers and to smell the flowers. Okay. You need to bring your positive energy out for people to want to stop and visit with you, who want to enjoy your flowers. Like, be that person. Even if you're not like a salesperson, you're going to grow into that a little bit, because you just really have to channel your passion and your love. And then you're going to bring that forward and people are going to see that in you. And then what's going to happen magically is one day somebody's going to say, do you do weddings? Do you have do-it-yourself flowers? And your business begins to grow. And that is another awesome point about the farmer's market, is you discover you, okay? You discover what you love, what you don't love. You discover what people love and don't love. It shapes so much of your future. And you don't even know this is happening. You're just sitting there experiencing and learning and gaining so much knowledge. And, me telling you this right now, it's just such a natural process that you wouldn't even know that all this education for you is happening. But in the beginning of this, I said that I stayed too long, and I did stay too long. I think it's a great jumping off point for where I was going, because I wanted to, I didn't love going every Saturday and giving up every Saturday for so long when I saw other people, going to the beach and things like that. In fact, it's a huge hang up for people. I notice when you bring up a farmer's market, they're like, every Saturday? And it could be, you can do what you want. You absolutely can do what you want, but listen up. You showing up on time every time in the same way always makes a difference to your bottom line. People get used to you. They know where you stand. And that level of commitment, it will pay off. If you're going to do it right. If you're like, okay, I need to jumpstart my business, I need to get known, well, then go. Be dedicated for a summer. That's not going to kill you. Maybe you'll love it. Maybe you'll be like, yeah, are you kidding? I go and play on Mondays and Tuesdays. That's the way I set up my life. So me sitting at a farmer's market every Saturday on summers is what I love. I want to visit with the people. I want to, all of that. So you get to make those decisions, but you have to experience them first. And I just want to say, the farmer's market is a fantastic place to discover that. I stayed too long. It's a regret. I'm just going to say that out loud. Like, wow, Paula, you could have moved on to other things and, had Saturdays back in your life. But that's okay. That's okay for me. I did love the energy of it. And when I finally decided that I was going to just not do that anymore and do the best I can to sell my flowers at grocery stores, I loved that decision too. But the farmer's market, oh my goodness, there's just so much with the farmer's market. I could go on and on and on and on. But it's also a great place to have like a spot to sell the flowers that are like second grade. They're just short. Okay, it's not that they're not fresh. It's not that they're not amazing. It's not that they won't have a great vase life and bring joy into people's homes and they don't make great gifts. It's just that they're short. So if you do a florist route, or it's just a great place, because no matter what you grow and sell and how it turns out, you can figure out a way to sell it. So when I harvest the flowers and I'm playing with them, you'll notice that the farmer's market, they kind of just whittled down to like, oh my goodness, what am I going to make? Or wow, I got a lot of short flowers now. And then you're going to switch gears and you're going to make tiny little posies and you're going to give them a great name and you're going to give them a great price and you're going to get them sold. Okay, that's your job. When you get to the farmer's market and it's dynamic. You're not sitting there wondering if anybody loved the bouquets you made the night before. You are actually sitting there in real time making decisions to get those flowers sold depending on what people are loving. And that's how you sell your flowers. That's how you get them sold. That's how you learn. Oh my gosh, you guys, I keep going on these tangents. I need to knock this off. I need to wrap this up for you. So those are the two scenarios. If you were at home or you are working and you have no cooler. Now, my friend, the day you get a cooler, amen. Amen for you. I love my cooler and that's going to be in your future. You're going to work your way there. If you've got one, well, all that does is you can pick 2 or 3 days. You can pick all week, for Pete's sake. You can pick all week and get your flowers stored and in prime holding condition for that farmer's market. But it's not to say that you couldn't conquer all of this without a cooler. A cooler is an expense. It's a maintenance issue and all that jazz. For all of it's lovely, it has those things. And you can do this without a cooler. When you add an element of complexity to your business, well, then you're adding maintenance and other things like that. So it just all depends on when do I need to sell my flowers? And then the day before you're getting them harvested, you're just shaking it up to make it work because flowers need a hydration period. Okay. So if you harvest in the morning and they sit all day and then you don't play with them for the next day, that's fine. That is totally fine. You got to make your life work. You got to make this not be crazy. Okay, you guys, I feel like that is a great episode to help people gain confidence in, I don't have a cooler. How am I going to do this if I have a job? You can get this done. Just don't be too big, And I would say try the farmer's market. Just go try a farmer's market. I mean, the farmer's market has other dynamics there too. I should do an episode about that. Maybe I'll hover in the farmer's market episodes for a little while because you can have fantastic fellow vendors and you can have little turds. They're just, everybody's watching everybody. I don't know. I don't need to go into that, but you just find your joy. You get in your lane and keep your eyes on your own business. You don't need to be looking at the other flower farmer and what they're doing. You just do what you want to do. Okay. You find the joy in what, and I never did. I never did look up very often. I was just, you have a business. You have a business and it's your business and nobody gets to tell you what to do. You get to do what you want to do. Okay, so you can tell I'm kind of going off because my fellow vendors were amazing. I loved where I sold, but there's always those little dynamics of people and you just have to bounce back to you are running a business, your business, and you need to do what you need to do to sell those flowers. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go there. I'm so sorry, but I remember it was a terrible morning. I had all my flowers. I'm doing my business the way I'm doing my business. And over comes another flower vendor. And I loved this person. They'd been there forever. And when I had done market research in the very beginning about, the flowers even sell at a farmer's market. And I went to the farmer's market. No, they actually really didn't. The people who had there was only one other person and, nope, she barely sold flowers. And so I knew I was going to have to get in there and get messy and sell my flowers. Anyways, I'd been there a couple of years and I basically had the strategy because in the beginning I was only doing the farmer's market, maybe a tiny little florist route. And so that was my place to sell the flowers. And I knew that I had to get there and sell as many as I could as fast. That was my place. I didn't want to throw any in the compost pile. And oh my goodness. So I would always bring everything. And I would be like, Paula Rice, this is up to you. This is up to you whether you are going to sell your flowers. And I'm setting up, doing my thing, and I'm bringing a lot, you guys. I turned into quite a little show. And over this person came and they're like, Paula, you are flooding the market with your flowers. And I just looked up and I'm like, well, I was astounded. I didn't know what to say, but I was like, I'm not flooding my market. I'm growing my market. And that's the truth. I'm doing my business my way. I know I've got a lot of children to feed, and this isn't a hobby. This is a business, and I've got to make it go. And I've got to get those flowers sold. So no, I wasn't flooding the market. I was growing my market. And you know what, my friend? I was growing my market. Okay, when I started the farmers markets, man, I'd sell $50. And when I finished, I knew in that day, number one, I was going to sell all my flowers because I'm there dynamically working and doing what it takes, making bigger bouquets if the market's a little bit shy that week, or making smaller bouquets if I'm like, this is a busy market and I've got to make my flowers stretch, but not so much that it wasn't, they still got a great value. So that's where I wanted to go with that. I was growing my market, and pretty soon it got to be I would sell all my flowers. And I knew if it was a sunny day and it was the heat of the season, I was going to make $1,000 that day. Now, that was really good for where I live and what I do. It was amazing. I felt like it was amazing. But don't forget the farmer's market. You don't have those days every day. It could rain. And that's another thing I don't like about the farmer's market is there are variables. And, you have a season where in the beginning, the tourists aren't here yet. So it kind of has this curve where it goes up and then it goes down. And I also didn't like that. So when I penciled those things out, it made sense to move to a grocery store where it was far more, not as variable. It was more guaranteed. Blah, blah, blah. Oh my goodness, I could go on and on. Okay, I love you, my friend. Grow flowers. Try a farmer's market. And if nothing else, put up a pop-up on a regular basis somewhere and sell those flowers. All right, be sure to share this with your friends. If you know someone that you think that they should sell flowers or try flowers or growing flowers, I think this episode would really encourage them to just put it would encourage them to be brave and go for it. So download this episode, share it with your friends, all the things, like it. I appreciate your support for this podcast and my passion for growing flowers and my passion for helping you grow flowers and sell them successfully. And if you don't sell them, then at least you're growing flowers and making the world a brighter place. God bless you. Have a great 2 weeks and tune in next time.